when I went to college, I wanted to be a big adventure. I went to Idaho. I was on the track team, and a few days before school started, we had the first team meeting. And it was there that I met Dick and Tony, the other two freshmen recruited that year. So later that day, I'm at the student union, and I see Dick and Tony, and they came up to me, and I swear to God, the first things out of their mouth was, "You smoke weed?" And this being the 70s, and me being from Colorado, I said, "Well, yeah." So we walked up Red Hill, which was a great spot that overlooked campus. Perfect area to catch a buzz and bond with my new friends. So we're sitting there, we're talking trash, and Dick, who spoke a lot like Samuel L. Jackson, says, "Man, we ought to go to Rock Springs, Wyoming. There's some fine-ass bitches there, and they'll dig a couple of guys like you." So, being a little bit high and looking for that adventure, I said, "Well, let's go now." So, within the hour, we're in a borrowed car driving 250 miles to Rock Springs, Wyoming. Well, it didn't take long. We went to a few bars, had a few beers, and we realized that Rock Springs is a hard-scrabble, wind-blown mining town with a lot of tough characters, very few women, and no fine-ass bitches. So Tony and I are leaning up against our third or fourth bar, and we're realizing we have been duped. Dick, it turns out, really just wanted to go to Rock Springs, where he was from, and hook up with his girlfriend, and he needed a car. So Tony was this big guy from Sacramento, and he was mean looking. And he spotted Dick in the back of the bar, and he goes over to him, and he snatches him, and he said, "If you're not in that car in 2 seconds, we're leaving your ass." So within minutes, we were in the car, headed towards the highway, when the empty light comes on, and nobody has any money for gas. So Dick, trying to make up for his ways here, said, "Man, we'll just siphon some gas. Take me to my buddy's house over here, and we'll get a hose and a gas can." So I'd never done that, but seeing my friends were kind of experienced at this. So I'm the designated driver. So I'm driving this 69 Bonneville around, and I spy this motel kind of out of the way, and I ride on back and saddle up next to this car, and they jump out and they start this operation. And we're not 30 seconds into it when I hear this, "Hey, what are you boys doing?" Lights snap on, people start yelling, and it was at that moment that Dick and Tony demonstrated why they were recruited as sprinters. They were gone in a flash. Shocked that I'm left alone, I punch that Bonneville and squeal out of there. I got no more than 2 blocks before I'm completely out of gas. And within seconds, I'm surrounded by cop cars. And I hear this, "Get out of the car with your hands up." So I'm getting out of the car, scared to death. They frisk me, turn me around. They say, "We're your damn black friends." And I'm thinking, uh-oh. And I just denied everything, and I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I had to borrow a car to go back to Denver for my grandmother's funeral. And I'm trying to get back before school starts." And there was a lot of conversation and more denial, and they throw me in the back seat of the car. So in those days, I had this big afro. And I used to frequently use that to conceal joints behind each ear. And that's exactly what I had today, a big fat joint behind each ear. So I'm sitting in the back of the cop car, and I am scared to death, and I slowly get those out, and I start eating these joints. And in those days, you had to roll big fat ones, right? And so I'm trying to, you know how when you're scared, you have no saliva, and you're trying to eat it, and it's all over, and I'm trying to get it out of my lips and gums and teeth before the cops come back. And while all this is going on, I'm hearing the cops and I'm hearing the police radio, and they're talking about chasing coons and hunting spooks and all kinds of racist language. And while I recognize that I'm in danger and really afraid that I'm going to get arrested, lose my track scholarship, and get kicked out of school before class even starts, I realize that Dick and Tony can get their asses kicked and really be in trouble. So the cops come back. They start the second round of questioning, and a few years earlier, my dad had given me a Conoco credit card. But I, of course, didn't want to tell Dick and Tony this because I wanted to bond with them, and I didn't want them to think of me as some rich white kid, which was certainly not the case. And plus, I was looking for an adventure, right? Well, this was a little bit more than I bargained for. And so I pulled out that card and I said, why would I be stealing gas when I've got this Conoco credit card right here? So after more conversation, they seemed to buy the story, and they ended up pushing me with the squad car down to the gas station with instructions to fill up and get out of town. So I nervously get out, and I don't know if they're watching me. I have no idea where Dick and Tony are. And so I start filling up real slowly. And I finally fill up, and I go inside. They didn't have pay at the pump in those days. So I go inside and pay, and I come out and still no Dick and Tony. And so I clean the windshield. And that windshield's never been cleaner. And still no Dick and Tony. Then I clean all the windows. And as I'm doing all this in slow motion, half from that reefer that I just ate and half from just trying to kill time, Dick and Tony finally come running across the street. And they are wet and stinky, and they've been hiding in a ditch. And I say, get in the back quick. And I get down in the back seat, and I head for the highway. And on the way back, I told them the story that I told the cops about my grandmother's funeral. I left out the part about the credit card, told them that the cops felt so sorry for me, they actually paid for the gas. And so we roll into Pocatello about sunrise, and nobody got laid that night. Nobody got arrested, but I got my big adventure and a couple of friends for life.